Hello chess friends and welcome to the Chess channel and welcome to the Computer Rapid Chess Championship that's going on now these days. It's a very cool tournament with the top engines playing. Unfortunately for us, Rh4 and Stockfish and the new E are not playing, but still we have the Stockfish classical version, and I think the Stockfish classical version is of course a very strong engine, and still the Stockfish classical is even better than all the other engines. Stockfish classical has a comfortable 20-point lead in front of every other engine. Really wild stuff. Stockfish is brutalizing everyone else. We have seen now the Stockfish and NE performing again very good in this TCEC season 20. Stockfish and NE won the super final against Rh4 with a clear 7-point difference. I think it was a beautiful super finals for us to see with beautiful tactical elements. Although there were these prearranged lines that were a little bit dubious, and still also in this rapid tournament, if in this Computer Rapid Chess Championship, also there were some dubious setups. But we'll come now to a really wild game between Stockfish against another top engine, Rubi. This game is really incredible because basically it was over after 10 moves. So till the move 8, the game was prearranged, and then only after 2 moves, the evaluation is already about 2 point something for Stockfish. And we have seen now recently when Stockfish has maybe the advantage like 1.5, then you cannot get back into the game. Stockfish will brutalize you, Stockfish will win the game. So evaluation about 2 and something for Stockfish is simply winning, and that happened exactly in move 10. Which is really wild. Here Rubi didn't find any counter attack. It was, as I said, a one-way ticket in an early stage of the game. So let's check out now the game. As usually in this top engine games, we have the sound, round 1, and the fight, of course. So here d4 play was prearranged by the Computer Chess Championship. Here f6 c4, we have f3, and after bishop to g7, e4, the same-ish attack against the king's Indian. It's a very popular line to play against this aggressive setup of blacks. Here d6, we have knight to c3, and after castling we have now bishop to g5, and this is the so-called Samish Steiner attack. And the Samish Steiner, it's from German language, of course. It's a very annoying setup to play, and I had my troubles against this opening line. I'm a King's Indian player myself. I like to play the King's Indian, and I've created also the series the King's Indian from Black's perspective. And in my recommendation against the same Steiner attack, I recommended in the video the move c5. And basically, in my opinion, there are only two good ways how to perform against this Steiner attack. There is maybe the c6 or a6 line. You can choose whatever you like with some gambit ideas, a6 b5, because let's think about this position more. Queen to d2 will happen. The main goal of white is this: queen to d2, queenside castling, creating this bishop and queen battery, placing the bishop here, trading off the bishops, h4 h5, opening the h file, and then deliver checkmate with a queen and rook battery on the h file. That's of course the goal. Not many games are happening simple as that, with some checkmates on the h file, but as a plan, this is simply working many times for white. In order to counter play, Black can play on two ideas. One of the best ways to counterattack is of course to create an opposite counterattack here with move a6 b5. You can also choose sometimes a gambit line, because when the kings are on opposite sides, sometimes you can even sacrifice the pawn just to be a little bit faster on the attack. So sometimes with a6 b5 we can play on some tactical ideas. But also, as I said, one of the best ways to meet a flank attack is a central counter attack with the move c5, and the Computer Chess Championship set up this line for black. a6, we have queen to d2, and we have now knight to d7. Queenside castling, we have now reached this position in which we have, again, as I said, this opposite side attack. The kings are on opposite sides, so it's obviously that both sides will simply attack as fast as they can on their sides where they're better. So here c6 was played by Rubi, and this was the last prearranged move by the organizer. And what to do now from white perspective, here it's of course the best to play the move h4. Here h5, which is a normal idea, it's not a problem about this move, but after the move here g4, it's already a bad game. We're now in move 10, and what to do here? I've analyzed now many lines for black. Let's see a possible line after potential e5. If you play e5, then you get d takes e5. If you want to break maybe the position in the center, d takes e5, you get g takes h5. You have to take with the pawn, and now we have reached really a bad position, I think, for black. The g file is open. We have to maybe play something like bishop to d3, maybe knight to h3. I'm not sure really what's the best engine move now, but as a long-term plan, our main goal here is rook to g1 and followed with bishop to h6. We want to place our rook on the g file, and here creating some madness. The king is already naked, so e5 is not working. The evaluation is already +5 here for white, so it's losing for black for sure when Stockfish is on the other side. So what you could also do here is to try, as I said, this counter-attack with b5, but again, it's a bad game. We can play here not g takes h5, then knight to h5 will happen. I think we can play e5 here immediately. After d takes e5 or b4 counter-attacking, we can play simply knight to e2, again d takes e5. We have d takes e5, and the knight doesn't have good squares. If you try knight to e8, then e6 will happen, and you see now you have to take, I think here, f takes e6, and now knight to f4 comes very active into the game. Here the g6 pawn is hanging, the e6 pawn is hanging. I'm not sure how to defend this. If you have to move the queen, I think, somewhere. The problem is now you cannot remaneuver the knight to c5. You have some tactical problems on the d file. Really already again a messed up game here for black. So here after the move g4, here we have h takes g4, and pause the video and try to see now maybe the best next move here for white. It's a common, I think, idea when you're creating this flank attacks.
Your might.
So test your might in chess. So we have talked about this idea. So the problem in this opposite side attack games that you want to be faster, and many times you see this maneuver. So after h takes g4, we want to simply proceed with here h5. The idea about this move is simply to create further madness. We're not caring about pawns anymore. We would simply want to create a piece activity, endangered king's positions. Here after the move h5, you could maybe try here g takes h5, but I think bishop to h6 again wins the game immediately, because there is one problem. We're threatening now to move queen to g5. If you try, for instance, to play queen to a5 to connect your queen with the g5 square, it's not good. We have simply c5, and it locks the position. Again, queen to g5 will happen. You have some troubles. You could maybe sacrifice the knight, but bishop to g7, king to g7, and I think we can even take, or we could even play immediately queen to g5 and similar stuff. e5 here is a possibility, so to deflect maybe this knight from the defense of the h5. So every line is here good for white. So after move h5, we have knight to h5, but the problem is now we have f takes g4, and we have now our goal. The h file is open, and that's a huge thing. I think when we talk about this opposite side attack games, you see black didn't make any progress on the queen side, where black should have already been here. So it's simply too late now. The b5 move, we threatening again bishop to h6, queen to h6, queen to h8, checkmate. So we have to get now new defenders into the game. Knight to f6. Here we have bishop to d3, Stockfish develops simply fast here, and now after knight to g4, queen to g2 attacking the knight, knight to h5, but now knight to f3. And that's what I really like about this game. You see how Stockfish plays with all of the pieces. That's simply how you should attack. Now the rook can be maneuvered to h1, then really all of the pieces of whites would be coordinated to the king side and would create attacking possibilities. Here the queen to d7, rook to h1, we have b5, but it's a little bit too late. We have knight to h2, knight takes h2, queen to h2, and it's already game over. So it's now move 19, but let's go now back to the move 10. Here after move h takes g4, the evaluation is already much better for white. Although the engine is showing now, but when you play the next move here h5, it's simply a one-way ticket. Black is already in troubles here. So here after move queen to h2, queen to e6 was played by Rubi. You see black is trying to get some kind of a defender into the game, but again it's simply too slow. Bishop to e2. There are many now good lines. You can remaneuver the knight maybe here to e2, then maybe try knight to g3 in order to challenge the knight. Bishop to e2 is much faster, so it's of course a good move. We have f5, bishop to h5, we have g takes h5, rook to g1, very important move. We don't want to take this pawn. It's not a problem about pawns now. Now we're threatening here some attacks on the g file, so that's why king to f7 had to be played. And now after e takes f5, queen to c4, but now rook to e4, threatening of course here rook to e7, and now king to g8. If you try to defend this position with rook to e8, then queen to h5 will simply happen, and it's again game over. So here rook to e4, we have king to g8, forcing the king to get back here on this weird square. The king is now really naked, and now we have rook to e7, we have rook to f5, bishop to f4, rook to f7, and again a new check, rook to f8, and now queen to h5. Queen to d4, nothing is changing here for black. Black is here already in serious troubles. We have bishop to e3, the check, queen to f6, and now rook to e4. We have queen to f7, and now very nice move by Stockfish, bishop to d4. So sacrificing the queen, but there are many good lines. You can even try here to trade off the queens. Everything is basically working here. So here bishop to d4, we have queen to h5, but now rook to g7, king to h8, and now rook to g5, discovered attack. And here the evaluation is +6 for white. White is winning here. We have rook to h1. Here the rook comes behind here, behind the king. The piece activity is very good here. We can even threaten some checkmates. We have bishop to b7, we have rook to e7 attacking the bishop, c5, and now rook to g7. First a check, also new check here by this other rook to h5, and now king to f4, knight to e2. We have king to e4, and now king to c2. Very nice move, because if you take you get checkmated in one with rook to e7. See how this king is weird here in the center of the board. So here after rook to f8, we have bishop to g1, rook to e8, and now knight to c3, king to f3, and now new checks. Here it's after this move, of course, we have a new piece, and it was now completely winning endgame. I'm not showing you now the whole game. It's obviously that white is winning. The game was prolonged. Now we're in move 46. The game was prolonged till move 17-2, because the engines have to play this game till checkmate, and but still it was of course a winning endgame with two extra minor pieces here for white. So really wild stuff. That this same Steiner attack works simply like this. Let's go back. I was really impressed, because I've played many times this line and I couldn't believe what I saw now here, because after move h4, what to do here, h5, you have to block, I think, the position, and now g4 is really one-way ticket. We're now in move 10, and after h takes g4, h5, I didn't find you here really good counter attacks. b5 here again, we could try e5 and similar stuff. You have seen the problems after e5. So really wild game. So I'm not sure if these fianchetto setups are working anymore. I'm really scared sometimes to play the fianchetto, because many attackers love to play against the fianchetto. You see, with this pawn sacrifice, you're getting a decisive advantage. I think you have nice attacking possibilities, and if you face maybe sometimes the fianchetto, you don't know how to attack. I think this is a very instructive game with this pawn breakthrough, sacrificing the pawn and getting an h5 pawn breakthrough, then opening the h file, and still our queen and bishop battery is working. And then we have this common attack, common Yugoslav attack, sort of. If you're familiar with Yugoslav attack against the Dragon Sicilian, it's also similar stuff. It's also with the same ideas. In the Yugoslav attack, you can also play g4, and after h takes g4, then you're trying to move h5, and with the same and clear ideas. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed the game. Really wild stuff again by Stockfish. If you want to see more brutal attacks and positional brilliances like this, check out my commented chess game series, the commented chess games played by computers. Here's the link. If you want to see the humans battling in their best chess games, check out my best chess games of all time series. Here's also the link. And if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you soon with some more videos, and chess is the best, of course.